Hello, my name is Andrea, and this is Starlight Stories for Magical Children. Here you will find a collection of stories that were told to me from storytellers from magical realms, the animal kingdom, and nature. I am delighted to share these stories with you. And maybe as you listen, you'll find that life really is magical, and so are you. Our storyteller today is Maple Tree. She is going to take us with her on her journey as she starts as a small seed and grows up to be a magnificent tree. And along the way, she gets to meet our friend Turtle from Turtle Greets the Sun. So keep your ears open for him. All right, let's begin. It was a windy, brisk autumn day, and high in the sky, a little maple seed twirled and whirled and swirled her way down from a high branch. It was a beautiful dance all the way to the ground, and when she arrived, she was still. That was until a child picked her up and placed her in a shallow hole in the ground. She felt the weight of the earth on top of her as the child gently covered the seed and patted the ground. The seed felt herself go into a deep sleep. She slept through the rest of autumn as the air grew colder. She slept through the chilly rains, and she slept through the first snowfall. She slept as the ground froze and the snow piled high on top. Through all of it, she slept. Until the warm sunshine began to melt the snow and thaw the ground. And when the earth was just warm enough, like magic, the little seed woke up. She felt herself growing and expanding. First, a tiny little root began to grow deep into the earth. And when there was enough stability with her roots, she felt herself burst up from the soil as her teeny tiny trunk sprouted up from the ground. And over the next days and weeks and months, the growing continued. Her roots multiplied and kept stretching down into the earth deeper and deeper. Her little trunk grew branches, and her branches grew little leaves, which soaked up the sunlight from spring and summer and gave her tremendous bursts of energy. At this point in her journey, she had survived her first spring and had almost made it through her first summer, and she was amazed at how fast she was growing. Yes, she was a whole foot tall, which even though I know that still seems small, that is such a journey when your starting place is a seed. But as she looked up and all around her and saw all the trees that were much older, with their huge trunks and their long branches and their beautiful canopies of leaves, she couldn't help but notice just how vulnerable she was, so close to the ground. These mature trees, they didn't have to worry about being trampled by a bear, or being blown over during a thunderstorm, or being eaten up by a hungry deer. She wished so badly that she could just will herself to stretch high into the sky and will her roots to grow thick and stretch down deeper and deeper into the earth. Maybe then she could feel a bit more secure in this big, big world. She knew she had some challenges ahead of her if she was going to make it to be a big grandmother tree in the woods. She tried to get creative, asking herself, how can I grow a little faster? I wonder. her friend the chipmunk ran by. The maple tree called out, "Hey, Chipmunk, do you know how I might grow a bit faster?" Chipmunk looked at the tree and said, "Well, what do you eat?" The maple tree replied, "Well, I don't really eat in the same way you do. I take in sunlight and water, and I pull up nutrients from the soil." The chipmunk looked at the tree. "Well, can you pull up more nutrients or take in more light or drink more water?" The tree sighed. "No, not really." "Well, that's kind of what I do. I mean, not with the light and the soil and the water, but if I want to get a little bigger, especially before winter, I like to eat a few extra nuts and berries. So that's really all I've got for you. Sorry I couldn't be more helpful." "Oh, that's okay," said the maple tree. "Thanks anyway." And the chipmunk moved on. And the maple sapling stood there, continuing to think. I wonder, what else? Then a turtle sauntered by. "Hello, turtle." "Hi, hey, I was wondering, I'm trying to figure out how I can grow a little bit faster. Do you have any ideas for me?" Turtle stopped and said, "Well, I'm an interesting animal to ask about doing something fast," he smiled. "I'm not exactly known for my speed." The maple tree understood. Maybe she should ask a faster animal next time. But the turtle continued to talk. He said, "Growing happens with time. And with every stage of growth, there's something you'll learn that you'll need when you're in the next stage. If you speed up growing, you might not learn all the lessons that you need to help you be who you need to be when you're all the way grown." If the maple tree had eyebrows, she would have furrowed them a bit. She wasn't sure she understood exactly what the turtle was saying, but she thanked him for his advice as he continued on his way. She played his words over and over in her mind until she finally began to see the truth that was there. For when she reflected on her journey, starting as a seed and growing all the way to a full-fledged maple sapling, she realized that each stage of growth helped prepare her for the next one. Like when she experienced that first strong wind, and that helped to strengthen her trunk. If she grew too fast and hadn't experienced enough strong winds, her trunk and her roots might not be strong enough to hold her upright. And if she would have shot straight up, she wouldn't have had time to grow the branches and the leaves, and she needed the leaves to help take in the sunlight. It really wasn't possible to speed up the process, but now she realized she didn't want to. She decided in that moment that she could just accept that growing would take time. And in that time, she would face many strong winds and changes in weather and seasons. Cold, blustery days, hot, scorching suns, and all of this would help her become a great tree. And sure enough, her roots grew thick and stretched deep down into the earth. Her trunk stretched up and her branches multiplied. Her leaves were magnificent. And as she grew, she felt her strength and she felt her greatness. She was proud of the journey that she had been on, starting out as a tiny little maple seed. And now, many years and many seasons later, she was a great maple tree in the forest, able to withstand mighty winds, no longer worrying about being trampled or eaten by animals. She knew her place in the forest, and she was grateful for her journey. The end.